a coconut oil, and also a rice bran oil. Rice bran oil is a good cooking oil to use. It's a very high heat oil. You can use high heat if you're going to be doing pan cooking.
What's it again?
Rice bran oil.
Rice bran oil. I'll have to look for that.
Yeah. So it's a safer oil for high heat cooking. So
That's good.
So but bad fats, again, will be trans fats and some vegetable oil, some palm oil, so are things to be moderated for sure. So
Okay.
and so again, the red meats are high in saturated fats, so that's what I say, you want to watch the red meats.
Well,
because
I just do the fish and the chicken and things like that now.
Well, so that's a good thing, and in relation to that with the red meats, so going into red meats, cows they're not growing off of grass anymore, and grass is what's natural to a cow.
Yeah.
So one of the things that's bad with the red meats, and I'm mentioning that relative to fish and poultry and turkey, a lot of the farm-raised proteins that we're getting now, they're being fed a lot of grain, which are high in a dangerous omega-6 fatty acid. So omega-6's fatty acids are found high in red meats, and so the cows are given corn's high in those omega-6s, and so we want to get a much more omega-3, which is EPA, DHA components. We want more of that balance. We're going more in omega-3s and less omega-6s. Those inflammations are going to be dangerous to people who have potential for heart disease or cardiovascular conditions. So inflammation, that's basically what it is. Those omega-6s, those fats are high and cause inflammation in the body and in our arteries.
Wow.
And so that's what they're referring to. You want to definitely get off the omega-6s and get back to omega-3s. And red meats are very high because of the feed that they're given, those cattle are given. Some of the farm-raised fish, same thing. Out in those ponds, they're just given grains. And that's why we really need to go back to, if you get organic organic free range is going to is something to look for. Free range components, if you're going to get your eggs should be free range eggs. And that's basically meaning that the chickens can go out and eat natural things and not just necessarily the corns that are pro-inflammatory components to them. So
is corn itself okay to eat? I just bought some corn.
Corn's going to be one of those genetically modified foods. It's definitely.
It's on the cob. It's not good.
It's definitely not what I would call a healthy food. Even corn off the cob is. There's not a ton of nutrients to it. It is one of those things that's natural to it, but it's been genetically modified to a great degree, and it's also, like I said, it's a pro-inflammatory food.
Well, I can't eat it now.
Mice, a high corn diet, and the mice develop a great number of tumors, and that's coming from the GMO corn that we're being given out. And if you're buying corn chips, or you're going out and you're getting a corn tortilla on your tacos, or you're probably getting a GMO corn, and that's going to be one of those pro-inflammatory, dangerous corns. The European Union actually, after discovering the mice study that was put out, they actually banned our GMO corn over in the European Union, which is very wise, I think, because it shows that them standing up for natural health and just scientific basis for disease processes. We need to stop cancers, and where cancer is one of our top killers in our country, right? And so our culture, unfortunately, is being heavily exposed to these genetically modified foods, and corn's one of them. Corn, soy. Definitely one of those top two things. So what I would advise for people is, if you want to get healthier, one of the things too is eliminate gluten, start lowering your corn intake, and eliminate soy. And soy is one of those highly genetically modified foods. And what's wrong with genetically modified foods, someone might ask. We just don't know. That's part of the problem. That we're getting off of course, those foods are getting off of course from their natural evolution of strongest seed, healthiest seed. They're being made in a laboratory, and we can see evidence of the GMO in our culture.
What is GMO?
Excuse me, the GMO gluten and
Gluten.
the gluten and what that's doing when people, we know more and more people are becoming sensitive and intolerant to gluten, and that's causing more problems and with people than I think that our culture realizes yet. But GMO is essentially a genetically modified organism, and so it's agricultural engineering.
Wow.
And so they're making foods that are, you know, again, dependent on pesticides. They're making foods that are hybrids, and so it's basically changing. It's literally changing the DNA structure of the foods, and they're actually trying to do that with salmon. Right now, there's a company called Aqua Bounty. Yeah, there's a company called Aqua Bounty right now that's trying to put out into the food marketplace a GMO fish, a GMO salmon that they would raise in farms, and that is a fish a salmon that will grow faster, grow bigger, and they can have much more of the fish by weight to sell to the marketplace. But it's dangerous. It's all about profit. We don't know what that will do to people's health, and I could just assume that it's going to be bad for people's health.
So is it the wild salmon that's better now?
Yeah, you have to get wild, and that's another thing. If you're going to get fish, you're going to be buying fish. It's really important to get wild caught, and you know, and in order to get the healthiest fish that you can.
And I have to be honest, I had it backwards. I thought that if it was farm raised, that means that they were, you know, they knew what this fish was eating, and I wouldn't have to worry about it eating anything in the wild. This is how I thought.
Yeah,
and you know, and probably a lot of other people
opposite.
think.
I'm gonna shock you with something. I'm gonna shock you with something. I once had a class with a famous researcher, and he gave us a quiz question one day, and he said to us, he said, "All right, let's take a jelly donut and a fillet of tilapia that's farm raised, a farm raised tilapia, and a jelly donut." And he asked us, he said, "Which one of those is healthier?" You know, and everybody, you know, a lot of people are biting on the tilapia, of course. And he said, "Actually, no." He said, "The jelly donut is actually healthier than a farm-raised tilapia. And the tilapia that's in those farms, again, is being fed nothing but corn and soy and grain, which are pro-inflammatory, which actually has more per weight content of those bad fats than a jelly donut that's been dipped and fried in oil." So,
wow.
So you really have to watch what's being put into the food supply. You have to get the most natural. If it's not organic, it's not a god food, and that just comes down to just basic common sense. If it's not completely in its natural, unmodified, down to its core DNA structure, then it's not a god food. It's a man food, and we all know what humans can do to things. We're going to destroy things if we get the opportunity for profit,
yeah.
and they'll take health at expense to do that. So, if you want to guard yourselves, it's really important to stay as natural as possible with the things that you're intaking into your body, and get as much live foods that are high in minerals and high in vitamins.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is very, very exciting to hear. Dr. Kenna, whenever I'm with you and we talk about things, I mean, yes, you do shock me, and I'm very pleased to hear and get this knowledge from you, and to have you share it with everyone. This is a fabulous thing. Thank you so much for having me again. Can I come back?
Absolutely. Be a pleasure.
Thank you so